Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we'll be discussing about a functionality which is available in Practifi, and a lot of clients, whenever they are migrating from Practifi to Salesforce FSC, this is a functionality which they are looking for, but unfortunately Salesforce FSC doesn't have something like this out of the box. So in today's video, my tip and trick would be around the checklist functionality, which I've seen from a lot of blogs that the clients are really looking for inside Salesforce FSC, but there is nothing close to it inside um, the Financial Services Cloud in Salesforce. So I'll give you a tip and trick around it and how you can create this using a mix of a flow and a Lightning Web Component. So let's get started on this. So as you can see in Practifi, and a lot of viewers, if they are already aware about this functionality in Practifi, on the task Lightning Ticket page, you can see a section where you have checklists, where you can basically select these steps, which allows a user to ensure that these items have been completed related to this particular task. And once these are checked, the user can then go on finishing the rest of the form. So now in Salesforce, what I've done is I'll quickly show you the UI first. So for example, this is a task which I have. And I'll also show you the workings behind it, but basically based on the task subject, I have created a checklist. So whenever a task with the subject, which is discussion sample, is created, this checklist will by default get populated. And when the user checks this, so you can create a strike through using CSS inside Lightning Web Component, but I have not chosen to do so because I've kept it, pretty basic. But what I've added is you can add in a new item over here. So for example, let's say I'm adding, update custodian in here. So once I hit add, so that does get updated in here, and then I can choose to check this. So whenever the next time I'm opening this task, all of the checkboxes values would be saved. And then as you can see, that update custodian is also saved in there. So I have been able to replicate the UI which is available inside Practifi very closely in Salesforce FSC. And at the end of the video, I'll also provide you links to all the code that I've used in here so that you can also replicate this functionality in your sandbox and test it out. All right, so let's take a look at the ERD first, and let me explain what custom objects or custom fields I've added so that you can see what is the functionality behind it and where we are storing these checklists as records. So what I've done is, let's go to, I've created a checklist item custom object. Let's take a look at the object structure. So this is the checklist item object, and I've created this from as custom in here. And then I've also added these fields in here, checked, which will basically store if the user has checked the checkbox, and then label, which is basically the value which would be shown in that checklist, and then record ID. So this is there to reflect which task record it is where I've created the checklist. So using this, I have managed to create records in here. So let me go to all list view. So as you can see that these four records are related to the task with the task record ID. And this is how I'm able to query the database and see what are the checklist items related to this task, and then I can bring it up. Now, um, I've used custom metadata, which is a very good way to store a template related to an attribute so that you can always call it whenever you have to um, pre-fill or pre-create a checklist. So let me show you how I've done it. So I've created a custom metadata in the background, and as you can see, I've added what should be the checklist labels in here. I've added sort orders so that based on this sort order, you can decide which checklist item should be shown up first. And then this is the label which is being brought forth whenever a task is created. Over here, I've chosen to keep task subject as an attribute, depending upon which I'm creating checklist items. But you can basically choose any attribute if you do not want to use the subject attribute. Now, what I have also done is whenever a task is created, I've created a record triggered flow. So let's go to the record triggered flow. So this record triggered flow is working on the trigger condition that record is created, and then it's getting the metadata records. And if there are metadata records existing, it's bringing all the metadata records. And then there's a decision element which basically checks if there is any metadata record present. If there is, then we are creating checklist item records so that uh, finally the lightning web component which is in place, it can query the database to figure out if there are any checklist items which are related to this task, and it can bring it up over here. So through this way, we have been able to, first of all, create these checklist item records in the background whenever a task is created. And then using the Lightning Web component, I'm able to query the database to bring those, to surface those checklist items on UI side so that it can be seen to the user, and then they can choose to, update these. So let's say if I'm updating any checkbox, right? So let's review what's happening in the background. As you can see right now, the custodian, funding, source, and update custodian, all three are updated and marked as checked. Let's check the fourth one. And if you refresh the screen, so real time, the update is happening in the background. So as soon as the checkbox is set to true, as soon as that event takes place, we are updating the record in the background, which is a very easy UI experience for the user if I am unchecking it basically. So if I refresh this, as you can see that the initial investment level got unchecked. So it's a very user-friendly experience, and this is this component can basically be added anywhere in the Lightning record page, and this will give the best or closest UI experience to this checklist functionality. This is 100% dynamic. As you can see that using custom metadata, we can always um, create a prerequisite checklist, and then that will always get updated whenever a task is created. So this way I've been able to keep this dynamic, and using a combination of flow and Lightning Web component, you can give the desired experience to your users. Please let me know if you found this video informative, and please like the video and subscribe to channel if you feel that this video would be helpful to you so that I can keep on creating more content. Thank you so much.